Well, good morning and welcome back to Cityline. Boy, do I have a powerhouse on the couch. And I wish that you could be in the studio to feel what's going on over here. Please join me in welcoming to Cityline for the first time together, Judge Drew Henke. You are a Tacoma Municipal Court judge. Welcome.
Thank you.
Your honor, I want to say, because man, you are something, sister. You brought with you a woman that any chance I get in a huge crowd to find her, she will hear me scream and run over to her. Judge D. Sontag, you are also an exceptional Tacoma Municipal Court judge like Judge Henke. Welcome to Cityline, my love.
Thank you.
So good to have both of you here. All right, we got some serious conversation to have here. First off, there is a phrase that I think most of us are going to go, head scratch. So, Judge Henke, what are therapeutic courts?
So therapeutic courts are courts that are alternative to traditional courts. In our court, we have we have the mental health court as well as community court. Okay. And we're different from traditional courts, although we do have traditional hearings as well that we handle. But our docket, one docket a week, is mental health court and community court. And what we try to do is address issues with individuals on an individual basis, rather than have them just go to court and have be represented by an attorney and decide whether to go to trial or to plead guilty and then be put on probation. What we do is we look at the individual and try to assess what the underlying root cause of the problem is, and then address that so that they can find stability and become productive members of our community.
So you look beyond what they have done and the reasons why they have landed themselves in front of both of you and say, I'm going to give you a chance to wind back the clock here. Let's try to start over on a different foot, because second chances are sacred. They don't happen very often. If our world had more second chances, it would be a very different place. So who is eligible, Judge Sontag, to participate in this?
So anyone who is currently charged with something in our court, so in Tacoma Municipal Court, we really just follow the statutory guidelines. So as long as they are eligible on a statutory level.
What does that mean, statutory level?
So for therapeutic courts, individuals who are currently charged with any use or threat of a firearm are not eligible. All right. Any prior convictions for serious violent offense, vehicular homicide, sex offense, any conviction with seriously bodily injury or great bodily injury, they're statutorily excluded. Okay. But really outside of that, right, and we are a municipal court, so we see a lot more lower level offenses. For mental health court, they just have to have a serious and persistent mental health diagnosis. And then community court, really, it's just anybody that's struggling that could use help with health and social services.
So you two are really standing in the void, and I want to expand that for a second. It's not just you two, it's your whole team that we couldn't get on this couch. Yes. And saying, what are the causes that landed you in front of us today? And how can we stop that and then move you forward in a different direction? So this may be kind of a no-brainer question when I think about it, but what happens to somebody, Judge Sontag, when they fail in this therapeutic program? Is it a third chance? Is it a fourth chance? How do you measure success when you have someone who's in front of you who at the age of 4 didn't get what they needed?
Yes. And so I will say it's very individualistic. So as a participant moves through the program, we really build a lot of incentives and sanctions. We have a lot of service adjustments. We really try to meet the participant where they are and work with them. However, not everyone will be successful. So at a termination hearing, if the court decides that they are be terminated to the program, they do stipulate to the police report. And so the court would just read that document and then would determine whether they were guilty or not guilty. Okay. So they do sign up for that in the very beginning in their initial contract. Whereas when they're successful, we get to hold a graduation and their cases are dismissed.
Are you serious? Oh my God, that makes my heart just explode. You have a graduation. So then the next thing is, how are these courts funded, Judge Hankey? Because I want to be there.
Well, we have been very fortunate. During the pandemic, the state legislature looked at the success rate of the felony courts,
Right.
which they have been funding for years. But also there have been more and more courts of limited jurisdiction, which we
Yes.
are, developing these types of programs and having fabulous success. So the state started a program where they gave us funding. And so that's how we were able to start our program and many other programs across the state. So we still get a huge portion of our funding. About 90% of our funding is through the state. We get about 8% of the funding currently through the city. The city also has a contract with Catholic Community Services to provide services to our court.
Good.
And then starting, we just got a federal grant as well. So we're going to be able to add personnel and services because of that federal funding.
So I can hear in my journalism brain here, if I can get it out, I can hear the naysayers going, wow, my tax dollars are going toward that. And so then the question that begs to be answered is, do these therapeutic programs really reduce crime?
So our programs are relatively new. The mental health program grew out of a calendar that we had. So we've been in existence for about 18 months.
Yeah.
The the community court is about a year old.
Okay.
So our statistics are relatively new, but
Infancy.
you look at the therapeutic courts across the state, and they have been very successful in reducing recidivism and also placing people in a better place, helping people get stabilized so that they can, on their own, after they've completed the program, be successful community members.
And how much, if, like, for instance, let's say we were taking me and I finished the program, I graduated, would you keep track of me for X amount of time to know how I'm doing, Judge Sontag, would you?
Yes, and I'm really excited with that question. One of the things we're doing with our new federal grant is we're going to be partnering with the University of Washington, Tacoma, and we're going to be keeping all of those statistics. So we're going to be tracking all of our referrals, who's coming into our programs, their success, and then we're going to be tracking them after for 6 months all the way up to 5 years, so that we'll be able to answer all the community questions, community members' questions on how we're doing. We want to be able to supply all that data.
Okay, so that leads me to have an invitation to have you both back on this couch. Let's do 6 months, let's do 9 months, let's get some stats behind this and some teeth in this. I'm gonna work on graduation caps, and I wanna say thank you so much for being here today and for holding this community close to your heart.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. All right, Claire, how's the figgy pudding going?
Good, I just melted some butter and I'm gonna be kind of mixing some stuff up here in a minute, cracking some eggs, baby.
I'm getting hungry. We
All right.
have much more to come on Cityline. Don't go away. We'll be right back.